What is an individual? This is a question that's been posed to me many times. I obviously have my own opinions, and I do believe, in my personal opinion, that the average American, is very confused with regards to what an individual is. And coincidentally, that would include what is a U.S. citizen. Now, I'm not going to get into the U.S. citizen part, kind of controversial. We don't like to do that here. But what I will get into is my personal opinion, not legal advice, trading advice, any relationship advice, psychological advice, any advice. Just my personal opinion on what an individual is. My name is Sot L, Seeker of Truth L, Speaker of Truth L. This is the foundation. Apologize for posting this late. I'm creating this late, so it's being posted late. I got caught up in several dances yesterday, but this is going up. So without further ado, let's jump into this very quickly. I don't want to take up too much of your time, so let's go. As always, be sure to check out welcometothefoundation.com. Sign up for the email list at the very least. There's a lot of information on this site. We also have some PDFs that we saw were being charged for, not necessarily relevant to the foundation and our purpose or mission, but some things should just be free, if you understand what I mean. So at the very least, sign up for the email list, exclusive offers, notice of events, in-person events, giveaways, notifications of when we go live, when we post the shows, things of that nature, and much, much more. So sign up for that email list. We also, in my opinion, would have the most comprehensive trustee training available, period. If you ever thought about setting up private trusts, common law trust, Massachusetts trust, business trust, things of that nature. These structures that are not created by statute, so therefore they're not governed by statute, which is a very, very powerful distinction. Link in the description for our trustee training at your own pace. You take it at your leisure. There's no real tests. There's no deadlines. No stress is really what we're trying to say. This is a lifelong transition. If this is what you're doing, as well as what you learn, it needs to be cogent and precise enough that you can pass down this information to, successor trustees. So if you're interested, link in the description. Do your dance. Also, if you're looking to start a business, I suggest you do. We are seeing through current events and things that are going on that there are a lot of layoffs happening left and right. I'm telling you, it happens in waves because legally they cannot fire all the people they want to. There's, ceilings to how many people they can fire within a quarter. I believe it is. I believe it's quarterly. So you're going to see waves of layoffs continue. They began a few years ago. We spoke on that. I suggest you start your own business. You will potentially see some benefits to starting your own business in this episode of the foundation, but we'll get to that. But link in the description. Very easy. Learn at your own pace. It's one of those things, And then finally, we have the Foundation magazine. We are in love with this magazine. I'm not even going to pretend. Our most recent, we got our May or April volume was private family foundations. We've touched on that here at the foundation, but as I said, we're able to get into more specific information when it comes to what we are able to publish in this magazine. We have a print edition available. We have a digital subscription available. You can do both. You could do one, completely up to you. Link in the description. And you can sign up if you choose. If you choose to. So let's jump into this show. So what I'm going to do is, let me start off by saying this, right? The individual is a person. And I just want to be clear, right? You have public and private, also known as legal and lawful, right? Also known as government versus private families, private individuals, things of that nature, right? So when it comes to a person, I want to make a distinction between a person and persons versus a man or a woman and people. Persons versus people. Person versus man or woman known by their name. You know? And that's all I'll touch on real quick. But I do want to say that that's a very, very crucial distinction that you got to make. That's it. I'm not going to get into any theories, hypotheses, so on and so forth. But what I will say is when it comes to the person, let's go to the U.S. Code, right? And within that U.S. Code, we're in Title II. And in Title II, this cat's going to mess up my recording, y'all. In Title II, U.S. Code 1602, this is definitions, right? We're going to go down to person. And that is down here. Whoops, went a little too far. The term person or entity means any individual, corporation, company, foundation, association, labor organization, firm, partnership, society, joint stock company, group of organizations, state, or local government. So within this definition, a state, the state of California is a person. The local government, a city government is a person. And they say, person or entity. I want to be clear on that. Now, when it comes to the individual, I find it very interesting that an individual, which most of us consider to be ourselves, that we are individuals, right? That an individual would be in the same list as a corporation, a company, a foundation, an association, a labor organization, a firm, partnership, society, joint stock company, all of these things, and a state. Whereas none of these other things can breathe. Let's just keep it simple. So to me, that kind of insinuates that an individual is not me. Now, when we're asked for identifying documents of the individual to prove these identifying documents, generally the first document that is required is a birth certificate. Now, I'm not going to get into the birth certificate beyond the fact to say that there's a state seal on the birth certificate. There's a state seal on the LLC and corporation or organization documents. There's a state seal on the corporate organization documents. Partnerships, same thing. Usually they have a notary stamp on there. And within the partnership agreement or the contract itself, it specifies that it is governed by the laws of the state. And the fact that the birth certificate, the original document, has a state seal on it suggests to me that the individual is separate from me. I am not the individual. The individual is not me. Now, whether or not you agree with this, it's completely up to you. I'm not here to bring people to my side of thought at all. We're just talking here, right? So, person, I'm not a person. I'm a man. If you get a bunch of men together, those aren't persons, those are people. If you get a bunch of women together, those aren't persons, those are people. And if you get a bunch of men and women together, those aren't persons, those are people. And for me, the distinction is clear. So when you hit this, right, this will pop up, and individual, and this is from cornell.edu. Individual means a living person who is a citizen of the United States or an alien lawfully admitted for permanent residence. It does not include persons such as sole proprietorships, partnerships, or corporations. A business firm which is identified by the name of one or more persons is not an individual within the meaning of this part. So an individual means a living person. A living person. but who is a citizen of the United States, not the United States of America, the United States. In here, look, let's just do this live. Let's do this live because I like this location of the debtor because this is now I know I might have spelled that wrong, and this is going to be UCC Article 9, UCC 307, right? Location of United States. You see this? Location of the United States. The United States is located in the District of Columbia. So you clearly see here. An individual means a living person who is a citizen of the United States. Not the United States of America, United States. So, where is the United States? It clearly states that the United States, this is Cornell law. This is the Uniform Commercial Code. This is baked into the statutes of every single state within the United States of America. The corporate statutes, the legislative law. The location of the United States is located in the District of Columbia. So I'm just going to leave that there and we'll move on. Now, let's talk about corporations, right? And why are we talking about corporations? I want to compare and contrast specifically with regards to taxes and taxation. Now, I'm not an attorney. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a tax attorney. I don't give legal advice, tax advice, lawyer advice, entertainment advice, marriage advice. I don't give any advice. This is just me talking. I could be crazy. I'm probably crazy. I admit it. Just so you know. So you know, I'm probably crazy. But you'll just follow me, all right? So corporations, this is the publication 542 on corporations, right? This goes into a lot of stuff, but what we want to focus on is income and deductions, right? Deductions. And what we're going to do is we're going to go through instructions, right? For the 1120. And the 1120 is the corporate return, all right? So this is the instructions for the 1120. And we want to be very, very familiar with allowable deductions, right? I'm scrolling down. We're doing this live. I'm just letting y'all know. There we go. Deductions. Limitations on deductions. Direct costs of assets produced or required for resale. Certain indirect costs, including taxes that are properly allocable to property produced or property acquired for resale. The corporation cannot deduct costs required to be capitalized under Section 26(3)(a). Right? But you got work opportunity credit, credit for increasing research activities, disabled access credit, empowerment zone, employment credit, credit for employer Social Security, Medicare. There's a lot of credits that corporations get. Credit for employer provided child care facilities and services. Yeah, let's just stay there for a second. So, in my opinion, right, if a corporation offers child care facilities and services for its employees, CEOs, executives, so on and so forth, that is paid with pre-tax income. This is deducted on its return. Corporations pay their expenses first, and whatever's left over is up for taxation. You don't believe me? Research it. Whereas individuals are subject to withholding. Let's jump into withholding. Did I jump on anything with withholding? Payroll deductions. There we go. Income tax, Social Security tax, 401k contributions, wage, garnishments, and child support payments. This is from ADP. This is what is taking out of a employment check prior to an individual receiving it. Corporations don't work like that. LLCs, corporations, they don't work like that. There's nothing taken prior to the corporation receiving the money. The corporation receives the money, it expenses it, it does what it's supposed to do. And at the end of the year, it's allowed certain deductions. Individuals are not. So you also got credit for employer differential wage payments, credit for small employer health insurance premiums, and employer credit for paid family and medical leave. I do want to touch on, there's also fringe benefits. A fringe benefit is a benefit that you receive for working for a particular corporation. What we want to pay particular attention to is the excludable fringe benefits. Now, am I a lawyer? Am I an attorney? Absolutely not. You know this. You absolutely know this. I can't give legal advice, but I can read. This section discusses the exclusion rules that apply to fringe benefits. These rules exclude all or part of the value of certain benefits from the recipient's pay. You understand what I'm saying? From the recipient's pay. Which means it's not taxable. You don't have to pay. It's not showed up on your return. In most cases, the excluded benefits aren't subject to federal income tax withholding, Social Security tax, Medicare tax, federal unemployment tax, or railroad retirement tax, and are reported on Form W-2. This section discusses the exclusion rules for the following fringe benefits: accident and health benefits, achievement awards, adoption assistance at athletic facilities that will be on premise on the company site, de minimis or minimal benefits, dependent care assistance, educational assistance, employee discounts, employee stock options, employer provided cell phones, group term life insurance, health savings accounts, lodging on your business premises, meals, no additional cost services, retirement planning services, transportation, tuition reduction, work condition. I'm just gonna let you know you don't get deductions for individual taxes for I don't know. I'm not gonna say any of these, but I don't think you do. I can't think of anything where you would get a deduction on your individual return for any of these. These are all, listen, the biggest one, everyone has a phone. The biggest one is right here. So what does this mean? Hey, so does this mean if I open a business, and it's properly classified, and the business gets a mobile phone account with Verizon or T-Mobile, and it's in the business name, and then I get a phone, does that mean that the business pays for the phone? Yes. Does that mean I don't have to pay for the phone? Yes. Does that mean the business can deduct the payment of the phone as an expense? Yes. That's something that an individual cannot do. An individual cannot do that. A business can do that. It is an individual must take their after-tax dollars, after withholdings, after tax, and then pay for their cell phone. Corporations pay for the cell phones with pre-tax dollars. There's a difference between pre-tax and post-tax. Corporations deal on pre-tax. Anything left over, then that's taxed. Look it up if you think I'm playing. I could be crazy. Individuals, however, deal with pre-tax. Pre-tax, sorry. Corporations deal with post-tax. Individuals deal with pre-tax. So you pay taxes first and withholdings. Please understand, when they withhold money from the check, it's not only an interest-free loan to the government, but it's also income that you would otherwise have had. But individuals don't work like that. So, and a lot of people get refunds. Refund means they had your money and they gave it back to you. And that money could have been used for something else. Corporations don't have to deal with that. They don't. What we got here? They got depreciation and amortization. 7 big tax write-offs for businesses. 7 of them. Tops. Look, advertising and promotion, business meals, business insurance, business interest and bank fees, business use of a car, contract labor, depreciation, education, home office, interest, legal and professional fees, moving expenses, rent expense, salaries and benefits, telephone and internet expenses, travel expenses. And this is pre-tax dollars. Corporations, they pay their bills, their liabilities with pre-tax dollars. And then whatever's left over, they pay taxes on. I know I flipped that up, but I'm remedying it. And individuals deal with post-tax dollars. You got to make moves with money that's already been taxed or withheld technically. And hopefully you can use some credits and stuff and get a refund, but it was your money in the first place. Tax write-offs for LLCs and S-Corps. Self-employment tax, first-year startup costs, training and education costs, professional services, pass-through entity deduction, independent contractor deductions, charitable contributions and gifts, association and membership dues, retirement contributions. These are a lot of deductions available to corporations. I'm not even getting into trusts. I'm not even getting into trusts. We'll just stay here. So here's the individual credits. It looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You may not even qualify for all these. If you earn under certain income level, there's an earned income credit. If you're a parent or caretaker, there's a credit. If you're pay for higher education, there's a credit. If you put money into retirement savings, you may qualify for a saver's credit. It's not guaranteed. If you invest in clean vehicles or a clean home energy, you can get a credit. If you buy health insurance in the marketplace, not employer provided, but you buy it yourself, you can get a credit. If you qualify for other personal tax credits, I don't know, what are those? Let's check it out. Paid taxes overseas? Probably not. Overpaid Social Security? Probably not. Paid alternative minimum tax? Why would I do that? Paid tax on undistributed capital gains? Why would you do that? Why would I pay tax on undistributed capital gains? As an individual, undistributed capital gains, individuals, from what I understand, they can't distribute their capital gains. Not pre-tax. I don't know. Let's check this out. Let's check it out. Regulated investment companies and real estate investment trusts. There it is. So if you invest in a regulated investment company or a real estate investment trust, and you have undistributed income or capital gains from those investments, you may qualify for a tax credit. You see what I'm getting at? The reason, in my opinion, the reason why most people are so overtaxed and they feel so stuck and they feel so just behind, in my opinion, is because most people don't understand what an individual is. Most people don't understand that when we exchange our labor through the individual entity, it is the most heavily taxed and least beneficial entity to use in the public. The individual entity is a public entity. The corporation is a public entity. The LLC is a public entity, so on and so forth. And most people are looking for a way to get out of that position. Number one, if you have a job, it's going to be difficult because you can only have a job with an individual. You can't have a job with a corporation. You can't have a job with an LLC or, that's an independent contractor. Only the individual can be employed. So with that employment comes these certain governance with regards to the Internal Revenue Service rules that really, really, impose implications of potential poverty, I would say. And I think most people don't understand that. Having a job is one thing, but you can also choose to exchange your energy through a business or a business trust and avail yourself of those benefits. There's a lot of people that I know that have started jobs on the side and were able to quit their job because it just wasn't worth it to go back to work. They were making more money with the business they did. I think the biggest thing is self-belief and self-doubt. But the truth of the matter is you can do whatever you set your mind to, as long as you're consistent and dedicated. It's very simple. And I feel like people overcomplicate things. Companies overcomplicate it to sell you products and services, so on and so forth. I'm not trying to overcomplicate anything. But what is an individual? An individual is a legal person. It's a legal person. It's a legal person. So let's do this. Here, let's do this. Let me find them, blah, blah. Okay, here we go. Let's do the definition of legal person. Legal person, and then I do legal definition, right? So what's the definition of, let's go. I like law, Cornell. A legal person is a human or non-human legal entity. So I'm not a human legal entity. A legal person is a human or non-human legal entity that is treated as a person for legal purposes. So a legal person is a human or non-human. How am I on par with a non-human? This is that public stuff. A legal person is capable of engaging in all usual business, legal business that a real person can participate, such as suing, being sued, owning property, and entering into contracts. Okay, so what is a real person? And this is just, you know what? I'm going to tell you honestly, this is just extra credit for me. So, I mean, what is a real person? What is a real person? And, you know, I know this. I'm just going, I see natural person. I don't see real person, legal person. Real person, definition. Let's take out legal. Let's see if that works. What is the real definition of real person? Quora. Real person in English. Cambridge. I don't see anything legal. You see how that works? There's real person in the Urban Dictionary. Merriam-Webster, but I don't see any legal. Legal. Let's try that again, because it's probably gonna do legal person again. Yep. So let's just see what a natural person is. A natural person is a living human being. Legal systems can attach rights and duties to natural persons without their express consent. You hear that? Legal systems, statutory law, can attach rights and duties to natural persons without their express consent. The concept of a natural person appears in business law and bankruptcy law, where it provides a contrast with an artificial person or a legal person. You understand what you hear? Which is an entity that is treated as a person for legal purposes. While natural person describes an actual human being, artificial person describes a partnership, corporation, or some other entity that has been provided with legal personhood. Legal personhood, other entity. So what do? We go back? Are we going back? Person or entity. Individual. I'm not an individual. And I look at the birth certificate and it's all capital letters and stuff. And, you know, that's a distinction. And I believe that's the ultimate issue. You know, when I look at a birth certificate, I know that that's not me. You know, it's an individual. It's a legal person. It's a legal fiction. It's controlled and created by the state where that application was filed. I did not fill out that application, and I did not fill out the Social Security Administration application. These things were issued, but they were not issued to me. They were issued to an individual. Does that make sense? It probably sounds like I'm talking in circles, but I'm not. And I could probably keep going, but all this to say that, you know, if we're utilizing public structures, due to that fact, we fall under public law doctrine. Even our energy, which we didn't receive from the public, even our life force, which we didn't receive from the public. And I think that's important to understand and comprehend. What you do with this information is up to you. But just being able to avail yourself of this information, I think, could be potentially beneficial to you and yours. A lot of people are heavily invested in that individual through degrees and permits and licenses. And I understand that. I comprehend that. And a lot of people, it's going to hurt to come to this conclusion, this factual conclusion of what I'm trying to describe. But it's all about what you do with it. Hopefully this empowers you to do something different, whether it's get into your trustee training, start your business, whatever it is. But I would say that the individual entity, that birth certificate with the corresponding social security number, is equivalent to LLC articles of organization, birth certificate, and corporate EIN, Social Security number. Partnership needs the document, the governing instrument, or its representation, and an EIN. LLCs, same thing. Documentation, EIN. Corporation, documentation, EIN. All of these, it's the same thing. You have documentation in the form of a birth certificate, and then you have an EIN, which they call a Social Security number. It just put an extra dash in it. Y'all can count the numbers of an EIN and count the numbers of a Social Security number, and you will see what I'm talking about. But as I said, I could be crazy. To me, for me, the remedy for me, and this was quite a while ago, was to no longer contract publicly and receive income in the name of the individual. It's very profound. It's sometimes difficult to implement, but it's for me and mine. It has been exceptionally beneficial to comprehend this information and put it into action. That's it. And I will go so as far as to say that's what I have for y'all. I trust that y'all learned something, I trust that this is thought-provoking. It makes you investigate. That's all. Just investigate. Don't buy anything. You don't have to buy anything. You don't have to go anywhere. You can do this from your mobile phone. You can do this from your computer, your laptop, your PC, your desktop, your Mac, whatever, And just, start looking at stuff. For me, I'm always interested in what's behind the scene, what's behind the curtains, what's going on, the inner workings of things. And that knowledge has allowed me to heavily and highly benefit myself, my family, and others. And, if you're struggling financially, if you feel stuck, if you feel, me personally, I knew that I had to do things that I didn't do so I can live in a way that I wasn't living. That was profound for me. I had to do things that other people won't or wouldn't do so I can live how others couldn't or can't live. That was very profound for me. It's the things that I've done on a consistent basis that have gotten me to where I am today. And if today I am unhappy, I need to do things different. I need to do different things on a daily basis so I can get to a different position. Consistency and dedication, y'all. That's it. You can change your life with those two words. Keep your mouth closed. Don't tell people about your dreams. You don't want people to put their self-limitations on yours, especially if it's people who are close to you, because their opinion matters. And it's not like you're being selfish or you're lying. It's just handle your business internally. But if you really want it, you will get it. And I think one of the biggest things is understanding the structures that we're using in business, in commercial belly. Y'all can look it up. Commercial warfare. There's things going on that most of us have no idea. But when we start learning, we put ourselves in a better position. Thanks for checking out the show, y'all. I trust that you learned something, or at least, thought a little bit more. Y'all have a great day. Enjoy yourself. Take care of yourself. Make sure you say 10 things that you're thankful for before you go to sleep tonight and every night. It's very important. Check out the links in the description. Sign up for the training if you feel that you need it. If you so choose. I'll catch y'all tomorrow. Peace, y'all.